Once upon a time, Detroit, when they made all the cars, they didn't have a clue what to do with rust, or they didn't care to. So when you got your brand new car, you used to be able to take it to a place called Ziebart. And Ziebart would spray a rust treatment on the inside and other regions of your car and try to keep it from rusting. And I tell you what, that's something that we had to focus on this week, because now after 2 years of doing rust repair on this 56 Bel Air, replacing rusted metal parts, metal panels, and just taking care of a whole bunch of cancer, that's what I did this weekend. As I said, I'm not going to do it again. So I went and sprayed rubberized undercoating, this one from Revive, went and did some acid etch treatment with phosphoric acid, took care of all that inner rust, sprayed it with this rubberized undercoating, including underneath some of the fenders where the road grime and grit will get. And if you're interested in seeing how we got that done this weekend, stay tuned. Welcome back to Restoring Christine. We're trying to plug away at it, trying to get this 56 Bel Air in shape for painting. I thought we'd be painting this weekend. I thought we'd be painting last weekend, but let me tell you what's been going on. So 3 weeks ago, it's been 3 weeks now, I released an episode and one of my viewers commented, "Man, it sounds like you're losing your voice." Sure enough, 3 weeks now, I've been sick. I've been tested for COVID. I've been tested for the flu. And it's just been lingering, negative on all accounts. Not feeling horribly bad, but just not camera ready. No, believe me. So anyway, the last episode that I did, the last video I did was I tried to show you, I was trying to pick out some colors for Christine. I got a red that's a GM pull me over red I'm planning on using, and I have this ivory color that, my viewers, my subscribers, they commented. I commented that I think it's a little bit on the pink side, and everybody else seems to agree for the most part. Most everybody else agrees that this is not the right color ivory. So I hoped to get to my paint supply shop this week and pick up an ivory, but I wasn't able to do that. And it's no matter. It's raining like cats and dogs outside. This is the first 5 minutes I've had to be able to shoot a little bit of video right now, where you can hear the thunder, where just the weather's just not cooperating. So I've got an illness conspiring, I've got the weather conspiring, and the holidays. So I haven't been able to get into it, I haven't been able to do it. And for that, I apologize, but we are gonna do something today. We're definitely gonna get into it today. So what I'm gonna do is something that you gotta do. It's necessary, and I wanna do this before we paint the car so that I don't have any problems with it afterwards. I'm gonna do undercoating. And I'm gonna try to get that done. I'm gonna try to show you what I'm doing there. I'm gonna try to do the entire inside cavity of the greenhouse. I'm gonna try to do the underside of the fenders, and we'll get that done. You can still hear I'm still nasally, so I'm sorry. Let's get to some work done. So here's my passenger side fender, front fender, and they had some problems with this. This was episode maybe 11, I think it was, 10 or 11. It was around Hurricane Ida, and I did a patch, a repair on this. Did that one, and so this fender, the way these Tri-5s are, you can kind of see the way the primer hits it. This design, where cars have a wheel well that protects all the body nowadays, back then they just had a skirt in the back, and then they had this open fender, and they had a skirt that kept the inside of the engine bay from getting anything splashed in it. But for the most part, all of this wheel spray constantly up here. So on these 56s, and I believe the 55s as well, usually get a lot of rust up here in this eyebrow area, and Christine was no exception. There was some work in here that had to be repaired. So I didn't do it, but that was a leftover repair. I didn't have to do anything up in here, but I know I'm still tinkering with the shape of this. But this is the inside of the fender. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this with some acid. I've got some phosphoric acid that's made by Klean Strip. And you can get this at the big box stores. You can get this at Home Depot or Lowe's. And what it is, let me see if I can get the bottle. This is concrete and metal prep. It says helps paint stick. But this is basically, if you've heard the term pickling, that's pretty much what this is. It's a phosphoric acid. You mix this with water, put it in a little squirt bottle, spray it on and let it sit, and it'll basically take that oxidized rust and it'll neutralize it. So that's what I'm planning on doing in a lot of Christine's nether regions. So underneath these fenders, there may be a little bit of rust film from where I didn't get it all cleaned up. It's hard to get that underside cleaned up, but also in these cavities inside the greenhouse. So in here, you've got this one pocket, like in here, this is where the rear window is. So in the rear window, when the window's up even, water hits it, water's going into this cavity. So it's dripping all up in here. So this is a patch that I did on the rear quarter panel. And you can see I didn't prime the back side of this at the time because I knew I was going to do this. But there's little bits of flecks of rust. So what I'm planning on doing is spraying this with that bottle. I'll go ahead and spray the inside of this side. I'll spray the inside of the other side, and I'm going to go ahead and hit that heavily with undercoating all the way down to where the fender closes in on the bottom side. All right, one of my subscribers was very helpful and suggested. He says, "Hey, before you spray any of that with acid, be sure to cover those holes where your trim is going to go, because you don't want that acid to go on your surfaces that are prepped for paint." So what I've done, follow that advice. It's great advice. So what I've done is I put some tape on the inside of the holes for the stainless. I've done the same thing on the outside, and so right now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply a light coat. I'm just going to spray this down with this acid, phosphoric acid, and I'm going to spray this down so that it's a 3-to-1 mixture, 1 part acid to 3 parts water. And I'm just going to spray this down to knock that little bit of rust down that's in there. I wish you could see this. It's not, it's kind of dark. But anyway, I vacuumed all of this out, and now here it goes. So you can kind of see the etching starting to take place already on the back of this unpainted metal. So anyway, we got to let this sit for a little while. We're going to let that sit, and then we get to rinse it and clean up our mess. And then hopefully we can get it dried up enough to paint the undercoating. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue treating this. So while I'm letting that interior pocket area, that window well, dry out, I turn my attention to the front fender. Let me show you what I'm doing there. So I decided, I looked at this really good, and I didn't think this was bad enough to warrant spraying it with the phosphoric acid. So what I did is I just took some 80 grit sandpaper and I sanded in here, sanded on the inside, got all this cleaned up. I popped out a rubber grommet that goes to the headlight bezel. And one of the things I did in my spare time is I went ahead and I put a patch in right here. There's a welded piece right there that I had to patch some holes that were here. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just touching up with a little bit of body filler. I got a little bit of glazing putty I'll put up on the top edge here. So I'm cleaning up this edge here where the hood closes against this fender. I'm just making sure that that interior edge is just right, because mostly I focused my time when the hood was shut on making sure that the top surface of the fender and the top surface of the hood were in good shape. So with the pitter-patter of rain up on the roof, I'm sitting here with 180 grit, and I'm just sanding my hand, just touching up these last little bitty flaws and making sure that this is all really nice and ready to go. All right, I got that edge all nice and tight. All the glazing compound sanded. Now I'm going to hit it with a little bit of high build primer. This is Impact. Can't get this from the big box stores. I get this from the paint supply place, Mike and Jerry's here in town. Impact makes a lot of good products. I like this spray can for high build primer. I don't feel like pulling out or I don't feel like it's necessary to pull out get the compressor and the spray gun and mix up some of the catalytic primer. So there you go. Okay. Coating. Meanwhile, the inner compartments, I have these two I sprayed with that phosphoric acid. I went back and I sprayed it with a little bit of water with a touch of baking soda to neutralize the acid. So I sprayed it, wiped it down, and then let it sit. And then I came back with my vacuum cleaner and I put it in reverse, and then I blew air through the cavities to make them dry out. It's a very wet day today, and you know, I'm in this garage and I'm creating dust, but it's very damp, it's very wet, it's just nasty outside. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and let that finish drying. We'll get this cleaned up, we'll mask it off, and then we'll go ahead and spray some of that undercoating. All right, I am using Revive by RSG. Black undercoating number 91029. It's a rubberized undercoating. This is not available at AutoZone or any one of those other big boxes. This, again, I got this from Mike and Jerry's. I got this from the paint supply store. So what I've done is I made sure I draped over that side and got some newspaper over there. But here I'm just making sure I've got my edges to where they're all clean, to where as long as I spray in this direction towards it, it shouldn't get on anything. So this is what we're gonna do. You can see it doesn't really go, you know, not much overspray. And I'm going to get it in all of these little pockets. Well, you know what? I need a mask. I've got a respirator, so I'm going to put that on. It's a little fumey. And I'm still under the weather, you know. Sorry for my gravelly voice. I'm sorry for the delay in getting these videos out. And I'm sorry for saying I'm sorry so much. Let's get her done. All right, it's been flashing for a few minutes. Take a look at it. I think it looks really good. Of course it does. And you know what? Nobody's going to see this. But, you know, I've spent 2 years now repairing rust in this car. And these are the little things that, to me, you know, are going to extend its life. So, you know, that's where the water sprays up from the front wheel. If it gets in there, it'll at least have some measure of protection, and that's what I want. So the next area I'm going to do is in those two pockets where those windows are. I've gone through most of a 17-ounce can. I have 4 cans, so I'll probably have enough. I might need to pick up another couple more to do the inside of the doors. I don't think I have enough to do that. But, you know, I still got to do also the underneath the wheel wells. You know, areas like that. So let's just keep going. All right, so we're on the passenger side now, and I've got to go about, you know, way down to the bottom, which is maybe about 14 or so inches below this. I got to get the bottom. I want to flood the heck out of that. I want to get the bottom really polluted with this rubberized undercoating. So I'm going to hit it way up in there. And we're going to get it. I mean, what the heck out of it. I mean, I am like being very happy with it. Woo! Let me put the respirator on before I start giggling too much. Let's do it. That's in there, man. Get the rest of it. I got it. Let's get this side now. The bottom. Out of 2 cans now. I still got to get up here too. Oh yeah, there you go.
That'll do it.
All right, so let's go back to the fender. We'll peel off the masking tape. Let's see what we got. Just give you a final look at it and have some final words. But yeah, this is about it. Look at that. Oh, it's good. Let me bring it up close to it. What you think? I think it looks great. Look at that. It's all the way in. It's all the way around. It's in all little nooks and crannies and crevices. And if you follow my channel, that's a rust repair. That was maybe episode 3 or 4. There's a rust repair up here. That's another episode. It's maybe 10 or 11 or so. But yeah, that looks really good. And let's take a look at what the inside of these window cavities look like. They look like the black hole. But hey, some things just aren't sexy. I'm sorry. What can you do? So, but that's going to do it for this episode, We'll be continuing on this. I'm going to try to pick on this. This is the kind of stuff that maybe I can do at night, and maybe I can try to catch up, because I really do want to have this car painted within the next several weeks or so. And it's going to be several steps. It's not going to be one day. It's not going to be 2 days. It's not going to be 3 days. It's probably going to be 4 or 5 days of having to paint this. So I braced the family. I've told them, look, I'm probably going to take a few days off to do this. But, because I just can't see. It's going to take me a month to paint it. But I'm still thinking all that strategy through, but that's what we've got to go through. Anyway, thank you for sticking it out with me on this episode. I'm still a little under the weather. But I hope you got something out of it. If you've been hanging around and you're liking the videos, please give them a thumbs up. And if you're enjoying the channel, I'd appreciate a subscription. So until I see you next time, hopefully we'll be doing some more painting. Take care of yourself. Cheers.